In the beginning, you're taking the donut and you're just stuffing it in your mouth and trying to chew it because it's like, oh no, I don't know how I can manage this. And now it's like breathing.
Hello, everybody. My name is Melissa Forziat of Take the Doughnut, here to help you get inspiration and get donuts. I'm a motivational keynote speaker, and today I'm having a Take the Doughnut interview with Terry Gifford. Now, Terry is the owner and proprietor of Willowbrook Manor, a tea house, farmstay, and chamomile farm in Skagit County, Washington. Also, she's the executive director of the SWAN Foundation. So Terry, welcome to your Take the Doughnut interview.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, we're ready to go. First of all, before we dive into the real conversation we want to have, I have to ask the question, what's your favorite donut? Do you have a favorite donut?
Well, it's interesting that you ask, because if I'm in the donut store, I gravitate to the apple fritter.
Oh,
unless they have a bear claw, and they're not the most popular. So that's my go-to. That's my, yeah.
ooh, okay. So you've got a go-to and you've got a backup in case it's not there.
Absolutely.
I like that. Well, I gave a bit of information about your background to open us up, but why don't you tell us more about yourself? What do you want us to know?
Well, I want you to know about Willowbrook Manor. It's my home. It's my home, and I welcome people to it. And in doing so, I feel privileged to do what I do. So I have a 9-acre farm in the Pacific Northwest. If you look at Seattle, Vancouver, BC, the San Juan Islands, and North Cascade National Park, I'm right in the smack dab middle of that. And I grow chamomile, and we host tea events, overnight stays, and bike tours, and then of course private tea events as well.
But and if you lean back in your chair just a little bit, we'll be able to see a little bit more clearly the beautiful view that you've got.
I'm sitting under my tea tent. This is where we do our summer tea events, and the Pacific Northwest can be pretty gray and gloomy during the winter times, and that's where we're cozy and warm inside the manor. The home itself looks like a century-old English estate, and it's actually a building that we built ourselves. We took a cow pasture, just what you see in the background, that's all that the place was, and then we turned it into what looks like a century-old English countryside estate.
Oh, it's so wonderful. I'm just looking at where you are right now makes me want to be there. So that's hopefully part of the appeal. So the conversation today it's a Take the Doughnut interview, which for those who aren't familiar, I will link a video here that gives a quick origin story for the expression take the donut, which for me means carpe diem, take the opportunity. So what happened was, there was this weird thing that happened in college where I left a donut on a table, literally, and it became an object lesson for me and what it looks like to leave an opportunity on the table. And as such, it became an inspiration not to do that in the future. So Take the Doughnut is the opposite. It's the rallying cry for going after what you want. And that's what this conversation is about today. What does it look like when we go after goals, and how does that feel? So let me open up with that question to you, Terry. How are you with going after goals? What's that process like for you?
Well, I will say I appreciate the donut that was laid on the table to be here today. A lot of it is passion, and a lot of it is necessity. All of us have to make a living. All of us have to kind of do the work thing to live, and it's a selfish thing to actually want to live your passion and have that passion be earning power. And I feel, again, like I said, I just feel blessed and privileged to work on my property. This is my healing ground. It's a beautiful place. And I'm thrilled to be able to share it with other people, and to carry on the gentle tradition of English tea.
Well, when you think about going after what you want, and obviously you took a big step to make a passion have earning potential, but there's a lot of steps along the way. It doesn't just happen overnight. With pretty much anything we want to do, whether we have a personal goal or a professional goal, usually the best goals take time. So with that in mind, what keeps you motivated when you're in the middle of taking a big donut? There's a lot of steps.
Oh, what keeps me motivated? Eye on the prize of earning. I mean, that's your basic. You know, you've got to have a business that that provides, but providing exceptional experiences to the people who come to my farm is what gives me purpose. I raised 6 children on this farm. I raised them close to nature, close to each other, and with also that passion to live and love. And when I feel like when people come to my farm, that is another gift that I can give to them. The house has been repurposed, and I can share my love of nature, my love of people, and the beauty that nature whispers as the breeze whispers across your cheek, and the smells and the sounds and the aura invigorates your soul.
Yeah.
So what was your question?
we just got so mesmerized in your answer. I was like, yeah, I'm motivated. What keeps you motivated? And it sounds like it's sort of a cross for you between getting back to why am I doing this to begin with, and also it sounds like there's a mindfulness component for you that, you know, when it maybe when you need that motivation, that you're able to take a moment and you're able to examine what you're experiencing with your senses, and it brings you back to, well, this is only happening because I have this place. I'm kind of seeing both of those threads, if that is where you wanted to head with it.
Well, and here's another motivational thing. My nonprofit, Serving Women Across Nations. Initially, it was a way for me to help impoverished women in developing countries. That was when my children were all under the roof, you know, ages ranging from high school down to grade school. And we did fundraising efforts to give microloans to impoverished women and to get children into school in Kenya. And we worked in Bolivia for the microloans. When my life changed and I found myself a single mom, and my humanitarian efforts focused on my children. But when the youngest graduated during the pandemic, I realized I needed to take my nonprofit, Serving Women Across Nations, out of mothball status, because we had a humanitarian crisis right here. And so I used my chamomile field as a way to unite the community and look at difficult topics such as homelessness and raise funds for our local homeless shelters, the food bank, and the domestic violence crisis center. And so that's another thread of purpose that my farm provides, linking people together and working, because we plant seeds, we plant chamomile, we harvest chamomile, and I even do a Wednesday weeding and tea where people can come in the evenings and have tea and scones underneath this beautiful tea tent in a very peaceful setting, and then come out with me and we pull the grass and the weeds that are coming up in the chamomile. So it's again, as a fundraising opportunity for a local homeless shelter.
Yeah, it sounds like
So,
you're very mission driven.
you
I appreciate this mission because I drink chamomile tea nightly. So I appreciate what you do, but also it does feel like, maybe it took a long time to start, let's say, the business, but now that you have the practice, it seems like some of these things that you're doing, you're able to activate them maybe a little quicker.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I was noticing how in the beginning, you're taking the donut and you're just stuffing it in your mouth and trying to chew it because it's like, oh no, I don't know how I can manage this. And now it's like it's like breathing. It's like we're just doing. We have the system, we have the modes of operation, and we have the people that understand that, and we can insert them when those activities and those events happen, and we bring them to fruition uh, with grace and without panic. Because
Yeah. I think
it's in the
it
beginning.
it certainly evolves over time. The first donuts you take, like you said, it's like, can I even do this? And then over time you start realizing that you have a process and you can maybe activate it a little quicker for other things. I am curious in terms of the process piece of all of this. Are there any types of challenges you typically run up against when you go after goals? And it could be personal or professional, but you find that whatever it is, you always seem to have this same type of roadblock.
Oh, well, there's always the things that just, I mean, roadblocks like, oh my goodness, someone hit a power pole and my power went out. And how do I make sure that we can move forward because we have people coming for tea. Luckily, that happened on a day that it was very late, and we pivoted and we managed, and the power came back on, and we were able to do it. But there's a time there where you're scrambling, and there's always things that don't go right, but you just act like everything's okay, and you make it right. A lot of challenge that I've had is honestly making, not even knowing that my zoning was a certain zoning. I initially was going to be a wedding venue,
Oh,
and
makes sense. Mhm.
I had planned 6 years, and every summer a large um, landscaping project to that end. And when I went to the county and said I'd like to be a wedding venue, they said you're not zoned for it. You're zoned agriculture. You have to
Huh.
grow something for your business. And it's like, what? 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 I mean, you want to talk about a roadblock? Smack! Wow, that was a 6 year plan that I had been working on, totally blocking my access to that donut.
Yeah. So it sounds
So
like things that are out of your control,
right,
it always crops up, doesn't it? There's always something, no matter how well you plan, that throws a
but
wrench in the works.
but it was a pivot to an actual preferable business model for me. I don't
Mhm.
like the large groups. I don't want to have to measure up to a bride's expectation or the mother of the bride's expectation. I bought a tractor. I tilled up my field. I planted chamomile, and I host intimate groups that are delighted to have home baked sweets, savories, and a delicious pot of tea. And I can connect much sweeter with those more intimate groups, and and my mode of operation is really more suited to that. So
Yeah.
roadblocks come, challenges come, and sometimes it's really a blessing in disguise because it brings us to a place that potentially brings us to a place that is better suited. In my circumstance, this is a much better fit for me.
Yeah. Wow. Well, if you think back historically across your life, what would you say is the biggest donut that you've taken?
Whoo! Um, You know what? It was I'm just going to look back recently. It was very, very challenging to have raised 6 children in a big house. And I'm a sloppy, messy person. I'm kind of creative and I do this and you know, we live to get that house to where people could pay me to come and stay in a very organized and clean and lovely, peaceful setting. Honestly, when I thought, okay, this is what I got to do, it's like, I don't know if I could do that and keep it tidy. You know what I'm saying? I started out by doing glamour camping where I could still have my home, my kids were still home, and I set up really neat. They felt like African safari tents where wall-to-wall carpet and running hot and cold water and lovely linens and fireplace and your campfire out. I mean, amazing. Wall tents with the attention to detail, fresh flowers on every little table, and people loved to come and stay. I don't do that anymore because my kids are grown and gone, and I can open up my door. I don't have to do all that work, and they come into an air-conditioned home, and it is tidy, it is orderly, and it is and it's clean. And I didn't think that I had the capacity for that when I was first looking at it because of just the way I live. So just being honest, that was huge for me. And people who know me would say, "God, Terry, you really did something really beyond your ability."
So the donut was the magic trick of going from chaos to organization, or chaos to like peace and calm.
Yes.
Wow.
And chamomile calm.
Yeah.
There you go. So, but there are places like my craft room, they're up the stairs that goes up to the attic to the craft room has a sign that says a private
enter at your own risk.
And if you go to some of my gardens, if you go to my rose garden, the wisteria is wild. It's there's a bench underneath and a table where you can take your tray of tea, and the wisteria extends over and winds out, and it's a little bit of
your core personality shining through.
Beautiful chaos in the garden.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what you're working on now. Is there a donut that's in progress for you? Is there something you're trying to go after?
Well, I appreciate what you're doing with this podcast because I've teamed up with a friend and a travel writer, Mary Rose Denton, and we are going to begin our own YouTube channel called Red Falcon Road. It takes my 63 Ford Falcon Futura. I got it after I had my 5th baby as a treat to myself to make regular days something special. Load up the kids in the Falcon and drive to the grocery store, and you're making a memory and something, stepping back in time and just feeling good. So Mary Rose and I want to bring people the joys and really unique niche places of Skagit Valley. So we're calling the YouTube channel Red Falcon Road, 2 ladies, 2 cups of tea, the back roads and backstories of Skagit Valley and beyond. So this is a big thing for us both. You know, our children are raised and we would rather not be in front of a camera, but we both feel passion about our area and about those small businesses that make our area so unique. And we want to showcase them. And we're going to do it in my 63 Ford Falcon Futura, putting on our cat glasses, and I'm going to do a little beehive hairdo.
Oh, wow.
And make it fun and celebrate the rich offerings of Skagit Valley.
Oh, that's wonderful. That'll be so exciting. And what a great partner to do that with as well, and a travel writer. It's great.
So I do have to tell you one other reason why I chose a bear claw.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see it from here, but we have foothills surrounding us. We're in the valley. East Skagit Valley goes up to the Cascade Mountains, and the foothills on either side of us have logging roads. And I used to hike those logging roads every day. One day I went higher than usual with my Great Dane called Chongo, and Chongo treed a bear, made the bear very angry, and the bear came after me.
Oh
And
my
I actually have a
goodness.
scar on my face right there. It looks like a smile mark, but it's actually my bear scar because the bear got me, but my dog saved my life. Attacked
Oh
the
my
bear,
goodness.
yeah, growling claws, wah, and I was able to run away, and the dog was able to run away. The bear was chasing us for about a mile and then let off chasing us. And and then I went back to my podcast of Sense and Sensibility, not podcast, but audiobook.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What a
that's
life you've had. So,
well,
there's a bit
that
of
was
adventure, there's a bit of tea. I mean, it's a
there's a
bit of
little bit of
everything,
bear
really.
chasing.
Well, this puts you in an excellent position to answer this next question. Let's go to the sprinkle some encouragement section. There could be people listening to this who are taking a donut of their own, or they're thinking about it and they're not sure what to do next. So what advice or encouragement would you give to somebody who's going after a goal of their own?
You know, I before I started my own business, I worked at an industrial construction consulting firm, and we did critical path method scheduling, large projects that we would schedule, and we would find the critical path. What's the most important thing to get the job done? Because a lot of us are just like me, a sole proprietor trying to do multiple things, and sometimes it can get overwhelming. And what I've told myself is find the critical path. What's the most important thing that you've got to do to get the job done to have a successful result? And sometimes it's like this piece, this piece, this piece, but what's the thread that ties those pieces together? Focus on that, because you can't do everything. And some of the stuff is not that important. It can wait, but you've got to find what that critical path is and follow it so that you can have success. So that's not really a sprinkle. That's the filling.
Yeah,
That's the filling of your donut.
sure is. It's great advice, though. Well, Terry, tell us where we can find you. I can put links in the description, but what links should I put into the description? Where do you want us to go discover you next?
Oh, I appreciate that. My website is teahouse.com, all spelled out. And my social media is Willowbrook Manor, both on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome. Well, everybody be sure to check out those resources so you can find more from Terry. And if you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe, because there's a lot of great interviews still to come with people telling us how they go after what they want and inspiring us all to do the same. So Terry, thank you so much for taking some time and joining me today and talking with all of us about how to take the donut.
I appreciate the invitation, and I appreciate what you do.
Oh, thank you. Well, okay, everybody, you know what to do. Get inspiration, get donuts. Bye.